Hello friends, welcome to the King YouTube channel. It's incredibly frustrating to see the relentless focus on Meghan and Harry's children Archie and Lilibe, day in and day out. Media and social networks constantly churn out stories and rumors about them, leaving public opinion tired and bored. Instead of addressing more important and pressing issues, we are bombarded with this ongoing noise and distraction. Meghan and Harry, despite all the attention they attract, seem oblivious to the weariness and frustration they cause among the public. Recently, I faced criticism for a comment I made regarding whether the Queen granted permission for the Sussexes to use the pet name Lilibet. My response was brief, stating that I have no knowledge of Lilibet's existence or whether it complies with the terms of the letter's patent. This comment immediately sparked controversy. I'm not the quickest at responding, so I promise to address this further in an upcoming video, which I'm preparing to do now. I'll break down my response into two parts. Firstly, I have doubts about the existence of Lilibe and Archie, particularly as biological children of the Sussexes, because of inconsistencies in their statements to Oprah. Meghan claimed they were married privately 3 days before their public wedding, which the Archbishop of Canterbury later refuted as untrue, causing him considerable distress. This discrepancy raises concerns about the credibility of other claims made by the Sussexes, including those about their children. Additionally, during their interview with Oprah, Meghan and Harry asserted that a member of the royal family expressed concerns about Archie's skin color, branding this individual as racist. However, they refused to disclose the person's identity, citing protection of their reputation. This lack of transparency further casts doubt on the veracity of their statements and adds to skepticism surrounding their narrative, including details about their children. The narrative becomes more complex when considering that Meghan and Harry claimed they were the only ones outside the royal family who knew the identity of the individual concerned about Archie's skin color. Yet somehow this information reached the hands of the Danish translator. This inconsistency raises questions about the reliability of their statements. Introducing two new characters, Charles and Catherine, complicates matters further. While I could cite additional instances, it would be futile. Therefore, I remain uncertain about the existence of the Sussex children or whether they possess both parents' DNA. My suspicion is that the children might be involved, but possibly as surrogate offspring. If this is the case, they would not have a legal claim to the British monarchy based on lineage alone. While they may be legally adopted children of the Sussexes, there has been no public evidence provided to support their biological parentage. In legal context, DNA testing is widely utilized to resolve questions of parentage. While birth certificates can be contested for various reasons, DNA testing offers concrete evidence that can dispel doubts for skeptics. DNA evidence is typically irrefutable, which raises questions about why the Sussexes have not released such information to the public regarding their children. Meghan has openly shared details about her own DNA ancestry, including identifying as 43% Nigerian among other ethnicities. If she is willing to share such personal information, why not disclose DNA evidence concerning her children? Catherine has shown immense courage by publicly discussing her personal battle with cancer. One might expect Meghan, who advocates for feminism and transparency, to similarly address any doubts through factual evidence. Demonstrating the truth could empower women and refute any allegations effectively. It's not just me, many others also harbor doubts about the existence of the Sussex children. It's possible that the royal family, including the king, is already aware of the situation. With their resources and legal advisors, they may be playing a strategic long game. Eventually, the truth may come to light, as discreet individuals could already have information that could unravel any mystery surrounding the children's parentage. I believe he is a highly intelligent man who understands his actions well, with patience being one of his virtues. Now, I'll proceed with the second part of my response, addressing whether LAD exists according to the terms stipulated in the letter's patent, specifically those relevant to recognizing the Sussex children. For those following this discussion on platforms like Quora, it's important to note that there is one particular set of letters patent that has been referenced in relation to the Sussex situation, King George V's letters patent from 1917. While this isn't an article on British succession law, it's pertinent to the question at hand. There appears to be confusion around the relevance of letters patent in this context. While some assert that letters patent have no bearing on succession, others, including authoritative sources, may argue differently. As I delve into this subject, I aim to provide a perspective that contributes to understanding, even if it's modest in comparison to broader legal interpretations found through reputable sources like Google. It seems you're referring to the changes in royal titles and succession rules in the United Kingdom. Queen Elizabeth II's update to the royal titles in 2012 was indeed significant. Before the birth of Prince William's children, the Letters Patent of 2012 established that all children of the Prince of Wales' eldest son would be entitled to the style of Her Royal Highness and would be styled as Prince or Princess regardless of birth order. This adjustment anticipated the changes brought by the Succession to the Crown Act of 2013, which abolished male primogeniture. This ensured that the Prince of Wales' firstborn child, irrespective of gender, would directly inherit the throne. Without this modification, Prince William's first child and heir to the throne might have been a princess if female, while her elder but younger brother would still have been styled as a prince. It appears you're discussing the relationship between letters patent and succession rules in the context of royal titles, particularly in relation to Archie and Lily, the children of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. The letters patent issued by the Queen in 2012 clarified that all children of the Prince of Wales' eldest son, Prince William, would be styled as Her Royal Highness and titled as Prince or Princess, regardless of gender. This was an adjustment made in anticipation of changes brought by the Succession to the Crown Act of 2013, which ended male primogeniture in the line of succession. Regarding Archie and Lily, there has been debate and speculation about whether they hold the title of Prince or Princess. Jane Barr's essay, Why Do I Think Archie and Lily Are Not Prince and Princess, discusses the historical context of royal titles and the application of letters patent. She points out instances, such as Edward and Sophie's children, where the Queen decided that their children would not use the Her Royal Highness style. This decision sparked constitutional debates about the legal entitlement to royal titles and the discretion of the monarch in applying them. In summary, while letters patent outline the rules and entitlements to royal titles, the succession rules and decisions made by the monarch also play a crucial role in determining who holds these titles and how they are styled within the royal family. The issue surrounding Archie and Lily's titles remains a subject of interest and debate among royal commentators and enthusiasts. Jane Barr's argument revolves around the issue of royal titles and the discretionary power of the monarch in determining who receives the style of Her Royal Highness. She points out that historically the Queen made a decision regarding Edward and Sophie's children where they were not styled as HRH despite being grandchildren of the monarch. This decision raised constitutional questions about whether they legally held the title or simply did not use it at the Queen's discretion. Regarding Archie and Lily, Barr suggests that if the Queen did not include them in the line of succession as Her Royal Highness, it was likely a deliberate decision. She questions why the Queen did not extend the same title to Harry's children as she did to William's children, especially since the succession rules were modified to ensure gender equality through the Succession to the Crown Act of 2013. This decision predates Meghan Markle's involvement and the subsequent discussions about racism. Barr concludes that if Prince Charles intends to elevate Archie and Lily to the status of Her Royal Highness, he would need to actively grant them this rank. This reflects the discretionary power of the sovereign in matters of royal titles and succession, which can be influenced by historical precedent and the monarch's interpretation of tradition and modernity within the monarchy. Jane Barr's analysis suggests that the issue of royal titles, particularly regarding Archie and Lily, revolves around the discretion of the monarch and the letters patent that define who can be styled as Her Royal Highness. Barr argues that the decision not to grant Archie and Lily the HRH title at birth may stem from Prince Charles' intention to limit the number of individuals holding this rank, in line with a broader strategy to streamline the monarchy. She posits that Prince Charles may have informed Harry and Meghan that their children would not automatically receive the HRH title through letters patent if he were to become king. This decision contrasts with previous practices where letters patent, such as those issued in 1917, defined who could bear the title of Her Royal Highness. Barr suggests that Charles may not see the need to issue new letters patent retroactively to grant Archie and Lily the HRH status, especially if their parents are no longer actively representing the crown and residing in the United States. Meghan's statements about a controversy over titles when Archie was born likely refer to discussions or expectations surrounding whether Archie would automatically receive the HRH title like his cousins, based on historical precedents and the monarch's discretion at the time of his birth. This reflects ongoing debates and interpretations within the royal family regarding the application and extension of royal titles to various members. Jane Barr's argument contrasts the treatment of the Sussex children with that of Edward and Sophie's children. She suggests that it would have made more sense for the Sussex children to receive the His Royal Highness HRH status, especially considering that their parents, Harry and Meghan, were actively representing the monarchy, unlike Edward and Sophie. Barr highlights that the Duke and Duchess of Sussex were directly involved in royal duties and engagements, which traditionally aligns with the bestowment of HRH titles. However, Barr does not believe that HRH status can be applied retroactively. In her view, HRH is either acquired at birth through the issuance of letters patent or bestowed upon someone later in life. She acknowledges that her perspective is speculative and admits uncertainty about how the situation will unfold in the future. Barr's analysis emphasizes that the decision ultimately rests with King Charles, who will determine whether to issue new letters patent or uphold existing ones, such as those from 1917, which dictate the criteria for HRH status. In essence, Barr's viewpoint provides an alternative perspective on the complexities surrounding royal titles and their application, particularly in relation to Archie and Lily's entitlement to HRH status. She underscores that the issue remains unresolved and that only time and the decisions of the monarch will clarify the status of the Sussex children within the royal hierarchy. I think the Sussexes are fortunate that the king is a gentleman who tries to accommodate them while keeping a respectful distance. In another time, they might have been accused of betraying their country. What else could you call the Oprah interview? I was truly surprised at Oprah's involvement. If the children didn't turn out as the Sussexes claim and it turns into slander 17 lies, really, and now Harry wants to buy a house in Britain. He may want to return to his British home, but he can't. He gave up his right to go back to his home, his family, and his people, and Meghan wanted to change the monarchy by herself. She can now create her own monarchy outside of Britain. All I can say is good luck to both of them. In short, Meghan's pregnancy is a complete joke. Harry has formed a deep bond with his wife through shared experiences like intimacy, substance use, and socializing. He is someone who enjoys causing harm to others and doesn't hesitate to manipulate emotions for personal satisfaction. As their children grow, they begin to explore the world in small steps, as her family has disowned her and her ex-husband has left her. She pretends to be pregnant again, which is a significant event in itself. She succeeds in her pursuit of Harry because of his wealth and status, leading to their decision to marry once she reveals her pregnancy. This illustrates how people can emotionally tether themselves to each other. Harry is deeply affected by this dynamic, creating significant challenges for him and his family. She's in a relationship with a perfect spouse who lacks intelligence, relies on others' lies, cheats, steals, and fabricates difficulties. They complement one another beautifully. According to sources, the children may have been adopted, but they could also not. So whose opinion do you lean towards? I recall the first time I became concerned about Meghan's pregnancy. I saw a video on YouTube not long ago when she was supposed to be pregnant with Archie. She went to several sites with elderly individuals and their beloved dogs. Anyway, she was at least 7 months pregnant. She was wearing incredibly high heels and she was able to squat with her knees together and make a fuss of a dog before standing up on her own. But when she did so, there was a loud popping noise that appeared to be a moon bump popping out. That's when I began to suspect she was faking the pregnancy. Furthermore, it's clear to everyone, including the royals, but they are keeping it a secret. It doesn't matter much because Harry and his family have become irrelevant. There's likely some DNA contingency. We noticed some odd things about Meghan's pregnancy. Her baby bump seemed to inflate, deflate, and even slip. Despite supposedly being pregnant, she could still squat and wear 6-inch heels. She tried to fool us just as Harry did with his unusual birth announcement that lacked the usual royal signatures. Here's some evidence suggesting Meghan wasn't pregnant. Most pregnant women have a glow, which she lacked. Secondly, squatting in high heels without falling is nearly impossible. Even though I could cross my legs and lean forward, I was still sitting on my backside. If someone had asked me to get up from that position, I believe I would have fallen face first. Third, why did she need to constantly hold her tummy? Was she worried it might move, fall, or even leak? Fourth, real baby bumps aren't huge and high in the morning and then disappear by the afternoon. Fifth, while newborns do move and kick, it's only for a few minutes at a time. In photos, her bumps seem to change shape, even becoming triangular. As one comment noted, there was no baby gear being unloaded from or reloaded into their car at the plane. 7th, Harry was seen pushing an empty pram, which must have been upsetting. 8th, there were no royal doctors, no after-birth images, and only a few photos showing the back of some children's heads. 9th, her breasts never looked like those of a pregnant woman. She rarely wore maternity clothes, and when she did, they were usually tight-fitting. As a commentator pointed out, she wore flimsy blouses instead of using breast pads for leaks, which would have shown a contour in her bra. Based on my own experience, she was not pregnant with any of the children. Meghan Markle's appearance often hides a deeper truth. Many have analyzed her behavior, and it's hard not to be shocked by her clear dishonesty and callousness. The pregnancy that captivated the world now seems like an elaborate hoax by someone desperate to maintain her public image. Even more disturbing is her tendency to use her children as pawns in her quest for attention and sympathy. Her deceitful actions, like squatting in stilettos during her alleged third trimester, defy both logic and decency. It's a betrayal not only of those who believed in her, but also of motherhood itself. Meghan Markle's actions follow a troubling pattern of deception and self-serving behavior. Her audacity mocks genuine parents in pregnancy. It's time to see past the facade and recognize the extent of her manipulation. People might question many things, but there's no doubt that Meghan and Harry lied about their children. Why? Because they are known liars. Harry's wife created the entire charade to attract attention and keep the world on edge about her geriatric pregnancy, the secret birth, and her claims of victimhood. She complained about imagined racism toward the fictitious child from the fictional pregnancy, ensuring she remained the center of attention. Any woman who has been pregnant and given birth can see through Harry and his wife's lies based on their absurd statements. Harry's wife created stories about the imagined child's development as further proof that she was making it all up. A newborn of 4 or 5 months old does not say words like granny, Diane, or crocodile as their first word. The Lilibet scheme was intended to gain favor with the Queen, who was not pleased with the game Harry and his wife were playing. No one attended Lilibet's much-anticipated birthday party at Frogmore. No cast or crew members have ever seen the purported children on flights to or from England. These children cannot attend school since they do not have birth certificates or immunization records. They also don't have passports. The Montecito mansion that Harry and Meghan were renting has been sold. Harry and Meghan moved out in October 2023. She now resides in a home near William Morris Endeavour, and he lives at a hotel. There is no sign of any children. Toddlers do not have milkshakes from In-N-Out for breakfast on the way to pretend school. Remember, Harry and his wife have been dishonest not just about their children, but also about many other aspects of their lives. If Harry and Meghan's lives are under threat, they have only themselves to blame. Had they stayed within the royal family, they would have had 24/7 protection from royal officers. They chose to leave. They chose to move to the US and adopt their current lifestyle, despite claiming they wanted a quiet life. Instead, they are constantly in the public eye, both together and separately. Most importantly, Harry chose to publish a book. In that book, he wrote about his time in Afghanistan, including the alleged number of Taliban he killed. According to many sources, Harry's revelations in the book have put a price on his head, a consequence many believe he brought upon himself. Remember, nothing in that book was published without his wife's full agreement, making her equally responsible. Whether anyone would consider Harry and Meghan valuable targets is debatable. Without any outside interference, they are already failing at everything they attempt. They have become objects of ridicule and face a bleak future with no new contracts or employment opportunities. Things could turn around, but this seems less likely each day, especially since Meghan cannot stand being upstaged by the Princess of Wales. She keeps putting out increasingly pointless puff pieces to grab headlines, but she's failing. But as a narcissist, I doubt she recognizes that fact. Meanwhile, Harry is still pursuing his court case in the UK, demanding 24/7 security at the taxpayer's expense. This is despite their lifestyle not reflecting the safety concerns Harry constantly mentions. The judge may dismiss his case, as Harry hasn't shown any visible signs that his life is diminished by fear. Well, that's all for today's video. Thank you very much for watching, and I want to know what you think about these issues. Please share your opinions in the comments below. I hope you will always be cheerful and happy. Don't forget to support us by liking, sharing, and subscribing to the channel. Goodbye and see you again in the next videos.